Why is 90% of the Grand Canyon off limits?
What is the Smithsonian hiding in the Grand Canyon?
North and South America is connected to or is ancient Egypt.
The gold index crashed because they found so much gold there.
These people called the ant people took them underground.
And this all happened within a century with regard to the giants.
Primarily from what we call the sky people.
Yo, what's good? We're back with another one.
It's showtime.
What is the Smithsonian hiding in the Grand Canyon? In the early 1900s, an article was released by the Phoenix Gazette which wrote about G.E. Kincaid, an explorer funded by the Smithsonian who had traveled down the Colorado River and found something extraordinary.
Yep.
You see, Kincaid claimed to have found a carved-out staircase leading up to a mysterious cave opening some 2,000 feet up the walls of the Grand Canyon. After venturing inside, he was astonished to find the remains of an ancient advanced civilization. According to Kincaid, the interior walls were adorned with hieroglyphics, as well as tools and artifacts which were left behind. And there was even a chamber full of mummies that appeared to be of ancient Egyptian origin. He estimated this network of caves and tunnels could have housed 50,000 people. Lining up with the ancient Hopi legends of humanity living underground after a global cataclysm. When informed of Kincaid's findings, the Smithsonian was said to have sent a team out there to collect all the artifacts and bury the story. Since then, the Smithsonian has denied ever sending an expedition to the Grand Canyon, or ever employing anyone with the name G.E. Kincaid. Now, perhaps it's just coincidence, but today there are certain areas in the Grand Canyon named after Egyptian gods, along with forbidden and no-fly zones that you can't hike or fly a drone to.
What are they hiding, Ted?
A lot, bro.
Hey, what y'all know about the Grand Canyon being linked with Egypt? Look, you see the Sphinx right there? Look above it. Just look close. Watch this video. This explorer named Kincaid went and checked out the Grand Canyon before it got put off limits. This is what he found. Bunch of little bitty mummies. The urns or cups in the lower tiers are crude, while the higher shelves are reached. The urns are finer in design, showing development of a later stage of civilization, you know, getting smarter, basically. Pretty much they're thinking it's the warriors' barracks because there's no women or children. I mean, they even found metals that they didn't even know what it was. Seriously. They even found a hammer. Check this hammer out. Pretty nice. So over 100 feet in the entrance, they went way down this long hallway, right? And they found this little dude right here. Okay, the people's god sitting cross-legged with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. Kind of like Egypt. Okay, so this idol also resembles Buddha, but they're not really certain of what type of religious worship it represents. Well, it does resemble the ancient people of Tibet, like that, what they worship.
Yeah, but has anyone else found stuff like this?
Yeah, bro. They found loads.
Did you ever hear about the Grand Canyon theory?
No.
So the Grand Canyon,
Okay.
one of the world's wonders. There's this theory that the Grand Canyon holds something that none of us knew was there. So back in the 1850s, right? The Grand Canyon was used to mine gold. When people started mining it, the gold index crashed because they found so much gold there. Now what happened was the government and the military, they closed it off and they made it a sanctuary so that nobody can just go there and then take whatever they want. There was this one guy, his name was Seth Tanner, and he was an explorer. He explored this one cave and he claimed what he saw was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics in one of the caves.
Oh, what did it say?
The Grand Canyon, it actually holds the lost city of El Dorado.
What?
Like, you know, the lost gold city of El Dorado.
Yeah, the whole city.
The whole city. So if you think about it, it's never found. That ancient tale that all of the natives talk about, the lost city, and the reason the government and the world is trying to keep it a secret is because it would crash the gold price.
Guess that kind of makes sense.
It's gonna get a lot crazier, bro.
Restricted area of the canyon, there are pyramids and caves adorned with hieroglyphics and Egyptian artifacts. To maintain secrecy, the airspace over this specific area is even restricted. This secrecy surrounding the findings raises even more questions about what might truly lie within the depths of the Grand Canyon. Exploring the area around the pyramid and cave in the Grand Canyon is no easy task. While it's technically legal to visit, it poses significant risks due to its treacherous nature. Despite these obstacles, people continue to venture into this section of the canyon, driven by a desire to uncover its secrets. Unfortunately, over the years, many individuals have been arrested, and some have even lost their lives while attempting to reach these sacred sites.
Has anyone tried to get in here recently?
Yeah, bro. Check this out.
Just downstream here on the Colorado River is where the legends of Marble Canyon, G.E. Kincaid, and the legends of them finding the cave entrance with the Buddha statue.
Dang.
And then we see all the time down here boats and weird vehicles, and I've looked down here before and it's looked like there's military.
Yep.
These were dug out to get the sand to make the Glen Canyon Dam. I'm calling bullshit on that.
Yeah, bro.
I'm telling you, it looks like a woman's face. Look, there's a square.
Yeah, what is that?
What the hell?
Told you, bro. It's Egyptian.
Here's a square. I don't want to. Here's a eye. The nose comes right here. Here's the mouth. Her hair comes down here and here. And then it's like, it's a perfect square rubbed out of the stone with a face and hair with a chin.
Looks like a lion, bro.
Yeah. Another face. I can see it on my camera clearly.
That one looks like a dog.
Yep. That almost looks like a totally another square with the hair coming down and like another face. Below the sand caves here. 2 eyes. Nose. This almost looks like a dog's head or something.
Yeah.
There's a face right here.
Told you, bro.
Face right there. What the hell? Think of it like the Egyptian pharaoh with the headdress and almost like the snake head and then the top missing. It's almost like it. What is it?
Hope that guy get out of there, alright?
I doubt it, bro.
It makes me wonder where these people came from. It doesn't necessarily appear from the information given that they came directly from Egypt. They may have been there for a long time. They could even have been survivors of a catastrophe that occurred about 10,500 BC. They're post-diluvial people in that regard.
Well, they also mentioned that once the Smithsonian had figured out what the hieroglyphics were saying and interpreted them, that we would then have all these answers. It was going to be like, this would really give a whole new meaning to our ancestry, a connection with possibly Egypt. And it was really exciting. I think it felt like reading these articles back in the days when information was really given freely. It was like there was nothing to hide.
But what makes this so believable that it was written up twice, not only in the Arizona Republic, but the Gazette also at that time. And it's an extensive article.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah, names are named. It's not just...
And the Smithsonian's name, so if the Smithsonian was named at that time and somebody was perpetrating a hoax...
Well, they would have been offended by that, I think, or they would have had reason to be.
Yeah, it's a good point. Why didn't they ever challenge the fact of it being a hoax?
Because it wasn't a hoax, bro.
The Smithson family and the history of the Smithsonian Institute is something that we could never talk too much about. There's just incredible underground storage vaults in the Smithsonian Institute where they it's like I call it the informational Area 51, where things that aren't quite fitting the normal pattern of what people want or told they need to know about are hidden away. One of the big things is this underground cavern system was uncovered in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. And let me just say that the archaeological history that we've been fed as we go through the public school system is so ludicrous, really. The Grand Canyon was actually not a small river carving it through millions of years. The fact is, with the Uinta Basin, all the inland ocean that was all part of that, something cataclysmic happened, fracturing of the rock around the time of 30 AD that caused a massive amount of water to go out over a short period of time and carve the Grand Canyon out. I want to say that there's plenty of evidence of that happening. It's some say it's revisionist history or an alternative reality, but no, it's just archaeologically and completely. And if you look at geography, it makes all the sense in the world if you look at topographical maps.
What do you think caused it then?
Ollie Al said the Grand Canyon was caused by a laser, bro.
Jesus.
What's up, Ollie?
Thousands of years ago, Earth was facing a very major cataclysm that was threatening to destroy all of life on the surface of the planet.
Dang.
As this cataclysm was getting underway, the ant people came out from under the surface of the Earth.
What?
And ushered humanity into these underground caverns and cared for humanity while the surface of the Earth was just being devastated. And there they stayed for generations. After the cataclysm had passed, humanity was led back up to the surface, and these ant people were instrumental in helping the humans learn how to replant foods so that they could survive very well on the surface of the planet.
Come on, Ted, ant people.
Everyone knows about ant people, bro.
All the cultures around the world, all the indigenous cultures have the same story. At some point, there was a disaster. It's not known if it was war or geological. It's not known.
So geological would be comets or something like that, and war would obviously just be neighboring tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
So these people called the ant people took them underground. The Lakota tribe, the Hopi tribe, the Aboriginals, the people of Egypt also go to the Cairo Museum. You see the ant people depicted there that took them to underground chambers. The structure was built to keep them alive, not by them, by the gods. And this one was discovered by a farmer, and when they opened it up and went down there, it can hold up to 30,000 people going down 12 stories deep into the ground. No sign of any collapse. 14,000 ventilation shafts leading to the highest levels to bring oxygen to the people at the deepest level. And even areas for worshiping and cattle, livestock. Derinkuyu is an amazing underground city.
Yeah, I'm not sure about these ant people, Ted.
Wait till we get to the giants.
What?
Has a buried city within the Grand Canyon been covered up?
Yep.
The Hopi Indians have a traditional story told to them by their ancestors. It details the original pyramid builders living in an underworld in the Grand Canyon. Dissension arose between the good and the bad, the people of one heart and the people of two. Machado, who was their chief, taught them how to leave the underworld. He caused a tree to grow up and pierce through the roof of the underworld, letting the people of one heart climb out. They settled by Passisvai, Red River, which is in Colorado, subsequently growing grain and corn. They then sent out a message to the Temple of the Sun, asking the blessing of peace, goodwill, and rain for people of one heart. But their messenger never returned. Among the engravings of animals in the local caves is an image of a heart over the spot where it is said the entrance to be located. This legend was learned by W.E. Rollins during a year spent with the Hopi Indians. An article published in the Arizona Gazette reinforced this legend. Ever since the article appeared, there has been a lot of speculations whether an underground city actually exists.
I think it's just a traditional story, Ted.
Wake up, bro.
My name is Clifford Mahudi. I'm a Zuni Pueblo Indian, and I have been working to get a lot of information among the indigenous groups, especially the North American Indians and our neighbors to the south, our brothers and sisters, the Mesoamerican Indian people. It is about time that we start gathering the information to convey and pass on. The origins of those protocols were provided by what we call the star people, or the spiritual people from different realms, primarily from what we call the sky people. They brought in from other parts of the cosmos. We started out is that technology
and spirituality were connected in the beginning. And throughout the ages, they separated technology away from the spirituality, and then it became the hard science. And somewhere in that path, man invented religion.
Ted, this guy said they came from the stars.
Yeah, and people came from another planet, bro.
Major John Wesley Powell. Powell was one of the early explorers mapping out the geography and culture of the American West. He was asked by the then Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution to write a paper on the history of the ancient tribes and their probable origin. Now, Richard Dewhurst, in his amazingly great book, The Ancient Giants Who Ruled America, dug this up and presented it in his publication. He noted that Powell's first document was titled On Limitations to the Use of Some Anthropologic Data. And this is where his doctrine begins to lay out a form of control over what's researched. He said, hence it will be seen that it is illegitimate to use any pictographic matter of a date anterior to the discovery of the continent by Columbus for historic purposes. From that point, we begin to spiral into social engineering it out of us and ridicule those who bring it up. And this all happened within a century with regard to the giants.
You're having a laugh. I thought you were joking about giants.
Nah, bro. You ain't ready.
Why is 90% of the Grand Canyon off limits? Well, they'll tell you it's for ecological reasons. Wrong. Because U.S. military is literally on the rim, drilled into certain caverns that they identify through all their technical abilities and extracted giant mummies. There's a legend that Mark Antony and Cleopatra, when they knew they were in big trouble with Rome, they sent their son Alexander Helios to the west with 50,000 of their most trusted servants, scientists, etc. And for the record, they absolutely knew how to circumnavigate the globe. The idea of isolationism was pretty much the foundation of the Smithsonian by John Wesley Powell. So in other words, it was important for the idea that nobody traveled any place to keep the false narrative going, because there's even evidence of the Chinese in the Grand Canyon and some of the caves, statues of Buddha, for instance.
I now understand for the first time how all of the conspiratorial ideas that the world has had are locked together into one idea, and that is to hide biblical truth.
That is the conspiracy.
That's the bottom line.
So where are these giant mummies now?
Area 51, bro.
Oh, here we go.
When we're talking about the history of the Grand Canyon, now this is what else is interesting, Gary. The giant mummies were taken to Area 51.
Yep.
And it's fascinating that Area 51 has gotten the, what would you say, the fame it has.
Were they taken there in a flying saucer?
Yes.
I just have to ask.
Yeah.
But no, I'm kidding. But I guess we need to laugh a little bit, because this is such a bizarre and dark motif. You almost have to just take a deep breath and look away once you begin to realize how we have been manipulated.
Well, and it's a matrix of manipulation, okay? It's like, imagine a giant tapestry where every thread is evil, where every thread is designed to deceive, to destroy, and then weave it all together, and I think you've got the end times. Now, again, the reason that this is so important, because in this DVD, I go into the eyewitness testimonies of the genetic altering and genetic engineering labs using giant DNA and basically creating hybrids and creatures. If you remember this, that even the rumors of the golden age of Atlantis and Hyperborea, Ultima Thule, Shangri-La, all of the, if you will, legendary mystical places, they even have in their oral tradition, or at least the legends about them, that they were destroyed by the gods, plural, when they got into genetic engineering. And that's interesting, because we're talking about a long time ago.
So you reckon there's a lab at Area 51 and we're just playing about with giant DNA?
Yeah, bro. And then the airport.
It appears that a lot of this activity and a lot of these tunnels congregate close to this Four Corners area. Now, there's well-known stone-based stargates, is what the ancient Indians call them, and now the modern Indians are saying these are where their relatives used to go and put their heads in and actually chant some words and disappear.
Yep.
And then some of them will return. Last summer, I went to Arizona to see the Grand Canyon. We actually hired a helicopter and a guide to go down there because I wanted to find out if I can see any of these ancient mysteries that people had been talking about. And we landed on this Indian reservation down inside the canyon. And there's a special area that was cordoned off. So I said to the guy, I said, why can't I come over here? I don't understand. I don't see anything dangerous. He said, because NASA has taken over this part of the canyon.
Dang.
A lot of these areas that the military will lock down are also very strong vortexes, which basically are nodes in this cosmic web Stargate system. These are places that the military lock down because they don't want you to see what's coming and going through these gates.
Ted, this is getting a bit mad.
Bro, we're just getting started.
We must talk about this ASAP. There's been a massive amount of conspiracy talk about the Grand Canyon being the actual path to Africa.
Dang.
And what's crazy is I just took a trip to Las Vegas. Y'all see I haven't even been on the app. When we flew over the Grand Canyon, I had the same exact thought. Then I got on TikTok and I seen this.
Look at it, bro.
It's just what the Grand Canyon looks like, Ted.
First you have Pangea. Now if you zoom in on the map, you see the United States, right? And then you see Africa right next to it. North America, Africa. This goes right along with me and my brother's Conspiracies theory that all the Area 51s across the globe were connected in Pangea, and when we separated, those portals allow everything to connect between us and the Earth and dimensional travel. Like the Grand Canyon, pyramids in Egypt, Stonehenge, all these places with these unique locations and meanings. It's looking like the Grand Canyon just may be part of that. Conspiracy starts to get really interesting. So the Grand Canyon has 6 no-fly zones. And also you have parts of the canyon which you can't explore without executive supervision. I think this may be because they're hiding ancient history. But hey, it just might be a coincidence or just a conspiracy or something. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. This seems like a bit of a stretch.
Nah, bro. The Smithsonian covered it up.
There was a theory circulating not too long ago that said that there was a path in the Grand Canyon that will take you all the way to Africa. But now people are starting to add to this theory and take it even further. The added theory claims that the Americas, which is North and South America, is connected to or is ancient Egypt. But this was covered up to throw people off of biblical prophecy and historical events. While this theory sounds wild, I find it very interesting that in 1909, an article released called Explorations in the Grand Canyon that talks about finding Egyptian artifacts within it. There was also certain substances and materials from North and South America found in ancient Egyptian tombs next to mummies. Theory goes on to say that the Mississippi River is actually the ancient Egyptian Nile River, and that they put all of this in plain sight by building modern-day pyramids in places like Memphis and Vegas, and also by putting pyramids on the back of the dollar bill. Now, this theory could definitely be a stretch, but leave a like if you want me to talk a little more about this, and let me know what you think in the comments.
Imagine if that story was a hoax and all this shit's come off the back of it.
Nah, bro. It's legit.
Wake this fuck up.
No, peep, Old Testament map of ancient order. Are at your feet, right? I had zoomed in.
Wake up. Wake up.
So what if this what it really was, bro?
Come on, Ted.
Told you, bro.
And if anything, right? This would really make sense. You wanna know why? Because what's in this area?
Oh, snap.
Washington, D.C. Oh my God.
That's a load of bollocks, mate.
Bro, there's pyramids on the money.
There is a deadly monster living in Arizona. Among the ponderosa pine forests of the Mogollon Rim, there is a legend of a violent hominid creature making its home there. Meet Mogollon Monster.
Dang.
This cousin of Bigfoot has been reported to be over 7 feet tall, covered in reddish brown or black hair, with large red eyes and a horrendous smell. In 1903, I.W. Stevens wrote into the Arizona Republican newspaper describing a fearsome beast that he encountered while exploring near the Grand Canyon. It was there that he came across the grisly scene of a hairy humanoid creature with long claws that was feasting on 2 cougars that it had bested in battle. It noticed Stevens and threatened him with a club while letting out an unearthly screech. Stevens managed to barely escape. Decades later, in the 1940s, a man named Don Davis was on a Boy Scout trip near Tonto Creek in Payson when he had a run-in with this creature. One night, while trying to rest in his sleeping bag, a heavy musty odor filled the air, followed by the sound of something rummaging through the camper's belongings. He called out to this large, shadowy figure making the noise, so this thing then walked over and stared at him for a minute before moving on. Davis described it as this very tall and massive ape-like creature that was towering over him, with large, deep-set eyes and an expressionless face.
Right, I'll give you this one. Edwin told me about this guy.
Bro, when can I meet Edwin?
As soon as we get out of this model.
If I told you that I know exactly what the Grand Canyon is, would you believe me? And I know exactly why it looks like petrified flesh and has all the signs of petrified living tissue. And then I showed you what the veins of a bat's wing looks like and what the Grand Canyon looks like. And then I remind you, or tell you for the very first time, if you haven't seen my dragon video, what I found.
Ted, please.
Right near that area. Look at this outlined in red wing, torso, and head, even down to its molars and jagged teeth.
That's a dragon, bro.
There's a dragon there. And the Grand Canyon is that dragon's petrified veins.
Ted, this is nonsense.
Try to tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Here is the whole dragon in red. I outlined it in blue. What I found later is the wing actually comes up and around the head. Here's the head. They even call the mouth the Black Dragon Reservoir and Black Dragon Trailhead or Canyon. There is a dragon there, and the entire Grand Canyon is its petrified vein. And just so you can see the comparisons again. And yeah, the Grand Canyon, you can't explore all of it, just like you can't explore Antarctica, because there's all sorts of hidden things there that they don't want you to know about, cultures that existed there that they don't want you to know existed there. But the bigger secret, the biggest secret of the Grand Canyon is what it actually is. And you try to tell me that's not the head of a giant dragon, and that you're now looking at its neck, and that this entire thing here is in its wing and its veins. Try to tell me. Try. Oh, and of course, I'm just joking. This is all for entertainment purposes, just like to make you guys laugh.
It did kind of look like a dragon, but then I saw his hat. Flat Earth detected, opinion rejected.
Fuck you, bro. It's flat.
There is a record of technologies that existed on Earth, of civilization more advanced than we are now. And the question is, were there some use of some type of electrogravitic levitation technologies that were used? The other problem is, even when the Smithsonian paid $5 million to simulate using mathematics and the technology that archaeologists say existed back in the time of the pyramids, those obelisks like the Washington Monument, but those were all one big piece of stone. They couldn't raise the smallest one with everything we know now about mathematics and engineering with what's been postulated. So there's something that doesn't add up there. But I think it's a bridge too far to claim they were built by ETs. But they were certainly, their construction and the precision of the stones cut, how far they were moved, how they were put into place. There are a lot of questions I have, but I have no proof of how that might have happened, except the man I referred to earlier from Redstone Arsenal area, who is given material occasionally, is not always extraterrestrial. He has been given objects that are tens of thousands of years old or older, that are technological, that have been found in the ocean and elsewhere, that were of human origin. and were extremely advanced technologies. So I believe that it's likely that on Earth, prior to the modern era, there have been civilizations far advanced beyond where we are, that for which we have very little record. And when that record is found, I think it's kind of swept under the carpet. You know, it's interesting. There were years ago when they did the Mars images, and they found that there were these obelisks and strange-looking objects on Mars. I went out to the Goddard Space Flight Center here outside D.C. to meet with Mark Carlotta and some other scientists there, and they said, yep, it's been pixelated out for the public, but there are structures there. And they were very ancient, but we're talking millions of years old, millions. And I was out in California after I had disclosed this to some people, and a man came up to me from JPL, Jet Propulsion Labs, and I didn't know him. He knew who I was and said, Dr. Greer, here's the issue. You're right, those exist, but we can't disclose that. I said, why? It's not an operational ET device. It's not, you know, it's old. He says, yes, but you don't understand how powerful this information is. I said, why? He says, if this was disclosed, it would collapse the fundamentalist orthodox belief systems of every religion on Earth.
What else do you think the Smithsonian's hiding?
A lot, bro. But we'll have to save that for next time.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.